What is up, math superstars? In this edition of Mr. Peterson Presents, we're going to give you the hints on how to change a percent into a decimal. And so in order to do this, got some hints here that are going to help you out. So first hint is make the percent as a fraction out of 100. The reason why we do that is because that word percent means out of 100. And then if you go ahead and read the fraction, it's going to give you the clues as far as what the proper place value will be for your decimal. So let's go ahead and try the following. So we have 89%. So hint number one said let's put 89%. So 89 as a fraction over 100. So here I have 89 hundredths. So if I was going to write this out as a decimal, I have my tenths place and my hundredths place. So I have my tenths place and my hundredths place. So I have a denominator is 100. So I'm going to go 89 hundredths. Let's try 13%. So I'm going to put that as a fraction over 100. 13 out of 100. And I'm going to go ahead and write out my place values. So I have the tenths place, and then I have the hundredths place, and I have 13 hundredths. So I'm looking for 13 hundredths as a decimal. So what about 2%? Just like 2% milk. That's 2 out of 100. So I'm going to go ahead and write my decimal with my two place values. So I have my tenths place, and then I have my hundredths place. So I have 2 hundredths, and so this is one where you have to stop a minute and make sure that the 2 goes in the hundredths place. And then you go, what do I put in the tenths place? You're going to put a 0 because in writing this 2 hundredths, there's not another number in front of 2 to put besides 0. So if I read this decimal, the decimal is 2 hundredths, the fraction is 2 hundredths. So the way to double check, if you were to go ahead and write, say if you were to accidentally put 2 tenths, 2 tenths is not the same as 2 hundredths. So what about 101%? So these next couple are the few cases where you have to do a little bit of extra work here. And so you have 101%. So I can write that as, let's go ahead and do that. So let's put it as 101 over 100. So if I'm going to make this improper fraction into a mixed number, 100 goes into 101 one time with a remainder of 1, and my denominator stays the same. So I have this mixed number here that I'm going to read from. My mixed number is 1 and 1/100th. And so if I was going to write this decimal out now, so I have my decimal place value, my decimal point. I have 2 place values, and you know I have the ones place now open because I have one whole. So I have one whole that's going to go in my ones place. And then I have 1/100th. And so remember, I have tenths and I have hundredths. So the 1 is going to go in the hundredths place. And tenths, there is no number listed, and that's going to be 0. And so I have 1 and 1/100th. So my decimal matches up with my mixed number. Now what happens if I have this? I have 0 and 2/10%. And so right now I got to do some steps here. So I have 0.2 out of 100. And so we know it is not proper to have a decimal as a numerator. And so what I need to do, you notice I have 0 and 2/10. That's going to be the clue. 2/10. I need to multiply the top and bottom by 10. 2/10. I'm multiplying now the top and bottom by 10. So that's going to equal 2 thousandths. So what I can now do is now I'm going to write out my decimals. So I have 0, and I have a tenths place, a hundredths place, and a thousandths place. Now I have 3 place values that I need to deal with here. Hundredths, and now I have thousandths. So I'm going to make sure that my 2 is in the thousandths place. And now I have 2 values here that I have no numbers for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add zeros into there. So I have this decimal of 2 thousandths matches up with my fraction of 2 thousandths.